A Russian military court revealed that the cruiser Moskva was attacked by Ukrainian missiles, and named the number of dead and missing. According to Media Zona, the publication was soon deleted. The flagship Russian missile cruiser Moskva sank on April 14, 2022, in the Black Sea near Snake Island. The Russian Ministry of Defense claimed that a fire broke out on the cruiser, which led to the detonation of ammunition. Ukrainian authorities then reported that the cruiser was attacked by 2 Neptune anti-ship missiles. Media Zona reminds that the Russian Ministry of Defense initially reported 1 dead sailor and 27 missing. The court later recognized 17 sailors who were on the cruiser as dead, whose crew exceeded 400 people. Media Zona and the Russian service of the BBC, using open sources, established the names of 22 crew members of the Moskva, who died when the cruiser sank. As Media Zona noted, the Second Western District Military Court, located in Moscow, issued an in absentia verdict in the case of the cruiser's sinking. Andriy Shubin, commander of the 406th Artillery Brigade of the Ukrainian Navy, was sentenced in absentia to life imprisonment, who, according to the Russian investigation, ordered missile strikes on the cruiser Moskva and the frigate Admiral Essen. It was attacked on April 2, 2022. The Russian court also ruled to recover 2.2 billion rubles from the Ukrainian military. The court also cited official figures on the casualties: 20 crew members killed and 24 injured, with 8 sailors declared missing. Soon after the press release was published, it was removed from the court's website. A copy of the text remained with Media Zona. As the press service of the military court writes, 20 crew members of the cruiser died from the explosion, fire and smoke, 24 crew members suffered bodily injuries of varying severity, and 8 people went missing, including during the struggle for the ship's survivability, which lasted. According to the court, 1 person was injured due to the attack on the Admiral Essen. Dmytro Pledenchuk, the spokesperson for Ukraine's naval forces, said it was difficult for Russia to deny the facts of the sinking, especially since the families of the Moskva's crew have been speaking out. In the early days of the invasion, the Russian state news agency RIA Novosti published, and then quickly removed, an editorial prematurely celebrating Russia's victory in the war. Nearly 4 years later, Russian forces continue to grind along the front lines, achieving incremental territorial gains at an extremely high cost, while Ukraine has managed to retake vast areas that Moscow initially invaded. The Russian military and the Kremlin have exercised an extremely tight control over the narrative around Russia's war on Ukraine, even refusing to call the conflict a war and referring to it instead as Russia's special military operation.
Russian occupiers are present in part of Huliaipol in the Zaporizhia region, but they do not control the entire city. Military observer Denis Popovich reported this. The Russians are trying to send reinforcements to Huliaipol as they see prospects for capturing the city. I won't claim the crisis is over. That would be incorrect. Fighting is ongoing in Huliaipol, right in the city itself. Part of the city is in the red zone, meaning the enemy is present there. Part of the city is in the grey zone, but it's impossible to say the enemy controls Huliaipol. Popovich said, fighting also continues north of Huliaipol. That is, the enemy is trying to act according to its usual scenario, to encircle the city from various sides, semi-encircle it, complicate our logistics to the extreme, and thus push our troops out of the settlement, the expert explained. At the moment, the situation in Huliaipol has stabilized relatively. I'll be cautious about the relative stabilization. Whether there will be further development remains to be seen, Denis Popovich concluded. At present, the city of Huliaipol is becoming a new large cemetery for Russian army and military equipment. Ukrainian Volunteer Army spokesman Serhiy Bratchuk announced that Russian occupiers are mining Huliaipol in the Zaporizhia region to prevent Ukrainian troops from advancing. They're mining everything. We're talking about buildings, the streets of the city itself, and remote mining, among other things. This is used to stop the movement of our assault units. The soldier noted. According to him, the Ukrainian side is also carrying out corresponding actions, including mining. Bratchuk emphasized that due to this situation, a significant portion of the territory in this direction has turned into a dangerous grey zone. It's clear that this situation will persist for the foreseeable future. The enemy is becoming increasingly depleted in this sector of the front. I'd like to remind you that the Russian Federation's 5th Combined Arms Army is the most active in this area. Its losses are so severe that certain units will have to be withdrawn for recuperation because they are completely losing their combat effectiveness, the UDA spokesman emphasized. He added that reinforcements from the 29th and 36th Combined Arms Armies of the Russian Federation can also be seen on this section of the front. Information is still being clarified in some places. Even units from the Dnieper direction may be or are already being redeployed to the Huliaipol sector, which is considered a promising area for the enemy, Bratchuk noted. Southern Defense Forces spokesman Vladislav Voloshin said that Ukrainian defenders are preventing Russian troops from capturing Huliaipol, a town in Zaporizhia. Therefore, the occupiers are attempting to remotely mine the town by dropping explosives from drones. According to Voloshin, the enemy is attempting to encircle the city from the north and south, and is also conducting a series of assault operations in the vicinity of Huliaipol and nearby settlements. He clarified that this is being done remotely using UAVs. The enemy's goal is to hinder the defense forces' search and strike operations and dislodge Russian groups seeking to consolidate their position in Huliaipol.